This is a presentation from the Supernaut Network.
Welcome to the Imaginarium, the show where art, technology, and creativity intersect and combine to forge a conversation that can only be found in the Imaginarium. I'm your host, Scott Colbert, and today's guest is 2014 Maverick Award winner, former model, actress, writer, producer, Tracy Birdsell. And welcome to the Imaginarium, Tracy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I think, first of all, I should congratulate you for I just read that you got the role of Jenna Jameson in the upcoming movie, Who's Jenna Jameson?
I did. It's actually Jenna Casey. Yes, there's a lot of twists in this film, but basically it's Who's Jenna Jameson, yeah. Yeah, no, it's a fantastic role. I'm very, very excited.
And when do you start shooting on that?
Well, they've already started some of it, but I basically shoot the month of May. So, but they're working on other parts of it right now. But I have another film that I'm the lead in next month, all month. So, and then after that, then I'll focus on that. So part of April, part of May, yeah.
You're a busy woman this year. You have 4 movies coming out.
I can't tell you how busy I've been. It's like I went to go order headshots, not because I need them, but just because you should have headshots. It's like kind of a rule my whole life. And I went in there, she goes, I haven't seen you in a couple of years. It's like, I know I haven't needed a headshot.
Well, when it rains, it pours, it seems like. You're either not working at all or you have more projects than you know what to do with.
You know, for some reason, everything that I've gotten offered, I've been able to make it all fit amongst each other. So I haven't had to turn down anything that I've wanted to do this last couple of years. In between times, I just have a chance to kind of get my house in order, and then I'm working again. So it's been pretty fantastic.
Well, how nice is that to be able to do everything and not have to turn something down?
Yeah, well, I only turn down things where I don't like the project or the role, but I haven't had to turn down anything that I really wanted to do, and that's fantastic.
Well, what would you turn down? What kind of a role wouldn't you do?
Something that wasn't interesting to me, something I wouldn't want to watch, because I get a lot of scripts. People send me a lot of scripts. And you have to want to watch it, and you have to want to live that life. Because it has to be interesting to the viewer, and if it's not interesting to you, then it's not interesting to the viewer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of like with my writing. I write what I want to read. Otherwise, there's really no point in doing it because I'm just going to be bored, and it's going to suffer. So.
Exactly. There's no point. If your whole purpose is to entertain people, if you're not entertained, there's no point,
Now, you started out as a model.
Well, it's funny because I actually started out acting in theater and musical theater when I was a kid. And then I got into modeling as a teenager. And then, in the early 80s and stuff, then I started acting in TV. And then I actually still model. For like the last 6 years, I've gotten back into it again. Which was a total fluke all on its own. But so, and that stuff all seems to fit in my schedule too. I haven't had to turn down any of that stuff. So. Well,
so it sounds like you kind of coming full circle a little bit. Maybe musical theater's next.
Yeah, right. Oh my God, I would love to do theater again, but I just don't have the time for it right now. I haven't done theater since I was a teenager, literally.
Well, I don't think there's a whole lot of it in Los Angeles, is there?
No, but we do have a little place called like Malibu Playhouse here. So we have a little theater here, and what's amazing about that is you have, I have friends that perform in it, and I was cast in a play there a couple of years ago, but then it ended up not getting made. There was this huge argument between the director and the writer at the table read. But what's neat about Malibu Playhouse is your audience. You've got A-list actors and you've got huge directors, and so it'd be kind of neat to do something at the Malibu Playhouse. If I were to do it, that's where I would do it.
Well, that would be cool. I did theater when I was younger, and I always liked theater. There was just something about being on the stage and having that instant gratification of the applause at the end.
Exactly. That's what I love about it too.
As opposed to having to film something forever and a day, and then, who knows when it's going to get released.
Well, the last couple of films I've done, at least I know when they're getting released. It's like when I used to do more indie and stuff didn't get picked up sometimes. You put your whole heart and soul into it, but at least the projects I'm working on right now either already have distribution or they're with filmmakers who always get distribution. So that's pretty exciting. At least everything I'm doing is going to be seen,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it sounds like it's. I don't want to say it's almost like a resurgence, but it has to be nice to have all this work again.
It's awesome. It's really awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really having a lot of fun. I get to go be, a badass science fiction person one day, and the next day I get to go do Who's Jenna Jameson, and I mean, it's a great life.
I mean, you couldn't ask for more than that now, could you?
No, because I'm really digging the science fiction too, because I like all the costumes, and I like the guns, and I like the blood, and I just like all that.
So,
Yeah.
so what's the science fiction movie that you've got?
It's called Robot Armageddon, and I'm the female lead in it, and it's basically it's the name kind of says it itself, but it's basically people against the robots, and it's just very action packed and some fantastic plot points in it, and again fantastic costuming, which really draws me in.
Well, and it's also nice. It must be to be one of the few female action heroes, so to speak.
Isn't that cool? I know in my last one I was too. It's not out yet. It's called At the Edge of Time. We just wrapped that. And the same thing. I was, kind of a female action person. She was like general of this whole army, and it was very, very cool.
So aside from the costumes, what draws you to it?
Oh, well, I grew up watching science fiction. I mean, I love it. And, it's something I always wanted to get into. And I remember I don't remember which Star Trek movie it was. I was in my 20s, and they were casting one of them, and I went and auditioned for it. And I was just, when I don't book something, and I was so upset that I didn't book it. So it's just really neat now to go back and check that box. It's so much fun.
So were you more of a Star Trek fan or a Star Wars fan?
Well, I grew up watching Star Trek in our living room, but Star Wars, of course, trumps Star Trek.
Ooh.
Sorry.
I'll just forget you said that. I may edit that out.
I bet you do that a lot.
I don't edit anything out unless I absolutely have to. But we just had it's funny because we just had a poll on our website, the Supernauts, Star Trek versus Star Wars. And it was really fairly even until then Star Wars came along and started stomping some butt again.
I mean, I love them both. I mean, and you can't beat the Tribbles episode, but Star Wars, I mean, that was it's a whole new breed,
Looking forward to the new one?
Oh, yeah. Everybody is. I mean, I remember when this trailer was released, it was like, ah. Yeah.
Well, that I don't want to say it's unusual because it sounds almost like I'm generalizing about what women should like, but there's not a lot of women who seem to like genre work, whether it's science fiction or horror or fantasy, whatever the case may be.
Well, in watching, what I watch is I watch science fiction. I love raunchy adult comedy, and I love action. Those are my favorites. So it's like I know that everybody says, well, when you take a girl out on a date, you take them to a romantic movie. I mean, I love romantic movies. Don't get me wrong, but they're kind of last on my list. So yes, I may not fit the mold.
So no 50 Shades of Grey for you this weekend.
I don't even have any interest in watching it, and I didn't read the book.
We just had Sasha Pearl Raver on the show yesterday, and she had seen it. She had actually seen it 12 hours before she recorded with us, and she was not kind to it.
Oh, really?
It
isn't that I don't find the whole concept appealing. Even the book, I mean, I would have loved to have read it, but I have so many scripts that I read. When am I going to get the chance to read a downtime book? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then it just, it doesn't mean that I don't like sexy things in movies. It's just that I just don't have time for it, But I would take the time to watch a science fiction film.
Well, you have your priorities straight, and that's good. So what are some of your favorite science fiction movies while we're there?
Oh, I love the Mad Max. I saw that one recently, the original.
Oh, it's not a good movie. Ugh.
No? You don't like it?
No, I said, isn't that a good movie?
Oh, I thought you said it's not a good movie. I'm like,
oh,
what?
No, I love that.
Yeah, and I mean Star Trek, Star Wars, all of them. I mean, they're all good. I mean, I even liked what do you call it, Lost in Space when I was a kid. The show and stuff like that. There isn't a bad one. They all open your mind. I mean, even WALL-E, right?
Oh yeah. That movie made me cry.
And see, it's so funny because it was one of those things where it's like people don't want to say that they love that movie, but that movie was amazing. You know.
I love the new Planet of the Apes. I mean, I was a
No, I
big fan
haven't
of the
seen the
original
new one yet,
series.
but I have it here. I'm very excited.
It's excellent. Absolutely worth your time.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it. I just haven't had a moment, but when I do, I'm going to.
Romance movies are low on your list, then it's kind of odd that you starred in a soap opera.
Well, it's not that I don't love romance, and you have to remember that's work, and work always
Yeah.
takes precedence. So, I love doing soap, but soap is work that you do when, I mean, it's good to cut your teeth on, and it's good to get caught up in it, but at the same time, when you do soap, you don't get to do a lot of other things, so it takes up a lot of your time. And I like to do different things, just all different things.
How different is shooting a soap from, say, shooting something like Family Ties? Because you were on Family Ties as well.
Yeah, I mean, comedy, multicam comedy compared to soap, it's they're completely different. I mean, you're doing sitcom and it's timing and it's, a lot of times in front of a studio audience and it's multi-cameras and you have your cameras and you're doing soap. It's, you kind of one-shot wonder most of the time. You have to be really, really on it, and it's, I don't know. They're all fun. I like some the best right now. I'm really into it.
What is
Maybe
it?
it's because I'm getting the roles, though.
We always like the things we're doing the most at the time.
And the things that you're doing next.
Exactly.
Like, I'm so excited about my next two projects. Somebody asked me the other day, they said, well, what's your favorite role? And I said, well, actually, whatever's next. And so then they wanted me to pick between the next two roles, and it's like they're both so amazing. I couldn't pick, because I'm so excited. But it's always what you're doing next, because you know you're going to always do your next one's always going to be better. Everything's always better. The roles get better. The characters get deeper because you choose them that way.
So what's the other one that you're shooting next? I know it's next month.
Robot Armageddon.
Robot Armageddon, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you prepare for a role like that?
Well, it's interesting because I did my first science fiction film, and I was just like, oh my gosh, and all these guns and all these fighting scenes and everything. And of course, we all learn how to die, we all learn how to do all this stuff, and I fight as a hobby on the side, but I really didn't get, how they put it all together. But boy, once you start doing it, then it's just a piece of cake. It's so much fun. You just kind of let go. And to prepare, you just prepare like anything else. You prepare for, you prepare for the role. You prepare for the, what it is. You become that person, or in this case, that robot. You just kind of immerse yourself and you see what, mine has kind of like some cute quirks to her personality. And it's funny, as you start practicing, you start noticing that you're using those quirks already, even before you're shooting. So, you just kind of slowly kind of morph into it.
So you said that you did fighting outside of the movie. What kind of fighting do you do?
Well, I grew up boxing, sparring, kicking, everything with my father in the garage as a kid. So I trained with a guy, Manny Bujold, who's, like world-known MMA fighter. And, I just mostly like street fighting and stuff. So I just enjoy it because I work out all the time. I work out at the gym almost every day, and it's just physical.
Well, that's the one thing I noticed from your stills. You're in shape like I can't believe. I mean, you look amazing.
Thank you. I've always been really, really into sports and gym and all those things. I just love it. It's kind of my go-to. I think it's why I'm like, here we have to become all these crazy characters, but I'm very balanced. I don't need a therapist. Because you use the gym, it's where you balance everything.
Yeah, it's almost like a Zen-like experience.
Mhm. Yeah, it really is. And I work out hard. I mean, if I'm not sore or on the edge of barfing, then I'm very unhappy. Yeah, it's not a pansy workout.
So are we going to see a workout video from you?
I don't think so, just because I don't have any time. Otherwise, I would. Like, on Instagram, I have all these little videos I've done in the gym, like doing, dips and push-ups and stuff, just because I know that I work out like a guy, and I think it's funny. So every now and then somebody will tape something, I'll pop it up on Instagram. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to take the time for a workout video, but it's an interesting concept.
Do you get any, negative feedback from being so athletic?
No, none. Yeah, because I'm not buff. Like, I'm strong and I'm fit, but I'm 105 pounds and 6'5". So I'm not like, I'm just strong. Everything I do, I always want to make sure I can do my body weight in. And yeah, no, it's actually a pretty common thing. You always want to be in better shape than your competition too. So you have to work really hard. It's kind of like acting isn't just being a great actor. You have to be able to top the stakes somewhere. So you have to work on, your voice and your presentation, your body, everything. It's all part of what you are as far as a marketable being.
Did you get that from modeling, where you really have to be better than the other models and really work hard to distinguish yourself?
I don't think so. Like with modeling, I think it's funny that they pay me to take my picture. I just think it's a blast. But it's for me, it's completely non-competitive. If I went to get something in that, I would never audition for anything. But when they book me for things, I'll go do them. But I never get into the the dynamics behind it. And same with acting. I don't get upset if I don't book something. You just move on. But yeah, I don't like all that stuff. I only compete with myself. You have to be the best that you can be in order that when it comes down to it. Nobody says, oh, we're shooting this film, in 2 months, and do you think you could get in shape for this? You want to already be what it is that they can book. And I'd be miserable if I didn't work out, so I wouldn't want to, although I guess I would get fat for a role, though. That would be kind of fun. Nobody's asked me to do that yet.
Maybe you can get one of those Robert De Niro roles, where you can just
Right.
kind of let yourself go for the right role.
Right. Well, my last film, I had to be really dirty in it. Literally, they're just piling dirt on you all the time. And that was really fun. And there were some scenes in it where I looked really ugly to myself. And I'm like, ooh, that was fun,
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of cool.
So you're not really afraid of looking bad on camera?
Oh, wait till you see this last one I did. There are some scenes in there where I look really, really, really bad. Yeah. No, I think it's fun. I look at myself and I'm like, No, because it's good to be able to look good, but you can't be all wrapped up in what you look like. You have to be able to have fun. And it's fun to be someone else. It's fun to, try different stuff on and just morph.
Well, that's one.
No, put that out in the universe. I would get fat for a role. That might be fun.
I've never had a problem being fat. I'll be honest about that. I've enjoyed it.
I think I love to eat, so all I'd have to do is stop working out. I eat thousands of calories a day, so all I'd have to do would be to stop the output and keep up the input. But I'd probably be crazy afterwards. I'd have to work out constantly.
So, do you have a specific diet?
No.
No, it's just whatever
eat.
you want to eat, or.
I know it's not fair. But
that's
true.
not fair.
I know, but I burn off so many calories that it just doesn't matter at that point. Like if I want to eat something super, super sweet or fattening, like say somebody got a cake and it's in the refrigerator, then I will eat it within the first hour after I get back from the gym because that's when your body gets burning off the most calories and it doesn't really stick. So I will think about it, but I would never calorie cut or deprive myself of things.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes if I do a fitness shoot, then for a few days before I'll just drink shakes, or something like that, keep my calories down and my protein up. But then afterwards, I'll gain 4 pounds. It's like I'll eat everything that isn't glued down, and then it'll balance out.
Yeah. Oh, but it's so good when you can eat all of it like that, though, isn't it?
It's a great thing. Yeah, it's a great thing. Mm-hmm.
So you were on Family Ties. How did you get the role on Family Ties, first of all?
Well, that was just like the old-fashioned audition process. I was very young. And I remember being very nervous. It's so funny. I don't get nervous like that anymore. I still get nervous at network auditions, but just a little bit, But I just remember, I thought my chest was going to cave in going on those auditions. And I think there were 3 different calls for it. You keep going in and going in and going in. And then I booked it, and it was such a big deal. But everybody was so nice to me, and it was a lot of fun. But, when you're young, things are a really, really big deal. Now it takes a lot more to impress me than it did then. Yeah, but back then I was still jaded. I'd only done commercials and stuff like that. So I did all the Sunkist soda commercials for 10 years. So that was where I, first worked union. I was 15.
So what was it like shooting Family Ties? That had to have been, I know you were young, but it still had to have been really exciting, with having Michael J. Fox and the others on there.
Yeah, it was really exciting, but it was so different than what I thought it was going to be because I was so nervous and I thought that nobody'd pay any attention to me. And then, here I was just coming in to do this guest star role, and I thought, oh, I'll be off on the side. I mean, I really didn't know what to expect. And instead, I get there, they're all like, hey, and everybody hangs out together and ate together and everything. And I thought, oh, it was such a warm, inviting atmosphere. So it was such a good, first experience with sitcom. It really was.
What did you take away from that experience? What did you learn from it?
Probably not to be so afraid, because it was really my first big gig, and so after that, then you're like, oh, okay, people are going to be nice. Now, of course, we find out over time that it's not always that way, but it took the fear away. It took a lot of the fear away, and once you're not green anymore, then you're not green anymore. You never get green again. So that's why it's such a big deal. I mean, when I booked the commercials, the Sunkiss, I didn't audition for those. Somebody else had gotten fired, and I was in the right place at the right time. So I'd love to make that a better story than it is, but but it's not. I didn't work hard for that, and so it was really the first job that I'd driven into town a bunch of times and worked really hard to get. And so yes, it was very exciting, but it also taught me not to be afraid. And pretty much people on sets and stuff like that, especially with TV, they're super warm and friendly. When you get on a film set, if you're a lead or a major supporting, they're very, very warm. But some of the smaller parts, it can take a little while for everybody to warm up to you. But on TV, they already all know each other. So you're just kind of like a new welcome member for a few days, which is great.
Has there been much of a change in the way that either TV or film is being done now as opposed to maybe when you were first starting out?
Well, I mean, the cameras are different. A lot of them aren't filmed in front of a studio audience anymore. That used to be. I think everybody's simplifying everything. I'd say the biggest differences in the casting processes are completely different. I mean, they're just night and day. There's very little similarity. And, I mean, they spend a lot of money now is the interesting thing. You just see a lot more money being spent, but you also see the sets a lot closer together. Since you don't have audiences in some of them, they have the back-to-back sets, where you just walk around the corner and you're in another set rather than having to switch where you're actually shooting. Yeah, I mean, there's a few things. Is
it better now, or do you think it's gotten worse?
I think everything's better. I mean, improvements in life. I mean, everything's more streamlined. How's that for a word? I'd say more
there you
streamlined.
Go.
Yeah, I mean, of course we like studio audiences because the same reason that you like theater. You like being in front of an audience and getting feedback, but it's not necessary when you're acting, when something's funny, the scripts are great, so.
Well, you're a very good comedic actress.
Thank you. Thank you. I love comedy.
And you're really good at that. And I'm really curious to see Robot Armageddon, to see you in an action role, because I think that's going to be very cool.
I'm even at the edge of time. That'll be out first, and that's
when is that coming out?
Role too. Well, it's in post right now, so that's shot. So okay. I would say maybe 6 months, something like that. Yeah.
What can you tell us about that?
Well, I played a character. Her name is Dion, and she's basically it's a time travel movie. And so the lead male character is traveling through time in order to rewrite history. And I'm trying to stop him because he has kind of a messiah complex. And so there's just a lot of fighting, a lot of killing, a lot of time travel, a lot of spaceships, a lot of really, really cool things, It's a very, very fun role.
And is that going to be a theatrical release or VOD or?
Well, I mean, it'll definitely make it, everything he makes, has worldwide distribution, so it'll definitely be out there. But, I'm sure it'll have at least a limited theatrical release, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But his stuff always makes it, either theatrical, and then it goes DVD, Blu-ray, and then it, through the normal channels, video on demand, and then eventually Netflix.
Has video on demand made it easier do you think, for filmmakers to make movies and by extension you to get work for it?
Well, it's funny because all the different outlets, I mean, even streaming and everything, there's so many outlets now for films, but still you kind of see something consistently across the board, and that is the good movies get seen. I think that there's still plenty of films out there that never see the light of day. So it definitely gives more avenues that they can be seen, but that doesn't make it where everybody's work still gets seen.
Now, you actually wrote a short film, TikTok. What was the experience like actually, writing something?
Well, I wrote a film in the late 90s, too, actually a feature film. And then I hired a guy to kind of come in and rewrite it and clean it up because I didn't really consider myself to be a writer. And then that went actually to the Cannes Film Festival, my very first film that I ever did. TikTok I wrote because I'd taken some time off. I used to have a digital production studio and I'd sold it. And I came back and I expected, LA to be really warm and welcoming. And they were, people had died and people had changed jobs. And it was really hard to get a job. I'm like, really? So I knew I had to make something in order to put my face and my talents and stuff like that back out there again. So I sat down and I wrote every disturbing storyline that I thought might get attention that I could think of. And then that one won when it came down to making it. And even when I was making it, right before I started shooting it, the editor, the director, everybody was like, "You sure you're going to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm positive." And so it was more something I wrote and produced in order to have it be a vehicle to kind of kickstart my career again. And it won awards worldwide. I mean, it did really, really well, and it kickstarted my career again. So it did exactly what it was meant to do.
And it's probably better than any demo reel you could have put together.
Oh yeah. Plus then you get the critics and stuff, and people listen to what people say when you're not asking them to say it. I knew that I could. I used a lot of the people that I'd used in filmmaking before. A decade before. So I brought in a really, really good team and made a really great short. Yeah, so it just did exactly what it was meant to do. I mean, I recommend that to anybody who has the wherewithal and knows how to do that. It really worked.
Short films seem to be making a little bit of a comeback. Over the past few weeks, I've talked to a lot of indie filmmakers and up-and-coming actors. By and large, most of what I've seen from everybody has been short films. Can't help but wonder if maybe short films are making a little bit of a comeback.
Well, I think that they're not going anywhere. I think that now there's a market for them too. Now there's, short film channels and short film online channels, and, people are selling devices that come with short films on them, and they're being marketed through iTunes. And so they have their own niche. But, and I think that, especially if they're under 10 minutes, I think that it's brilliant if you can move an audience in under 10 minutes. And so I think that's there. I don't like a lot of them if they're done too cheaply or if they cut any corners, but if they're being done with the same quality and things, they're amazing. I don't know, I just love it. I love the short film format. I got to tell you, I did it myself, for a purpose. But when it ended up, it played in film festivals everywhere. And so I ended up following it, and I followed it to Hawaii, and I followed it to, New York. It won Best Movie in New York, and it won, got Best Drama at Burbank, and that was between features and shorts. And so it was funny, as I followed it, of course, shorts always show in blocks, so you end up watching a lot of shorts when you're following your film. And I was amazed at, some of the talent, even some of the names that were in them. It was amazing.
And I guess I should congratulate you also as well for being a Maverick Award winner.
Pretty cool, right? Thank you.
Yeah. Well, now, what did you win that for?
Well, it's kind of an honorary award, and it's for just your contribution to the film world, for making a difference out there. And what's really cool about it, I thought, were the other people that have won the Maverick Award. I mean, you have, Michael Madsen and Kim Coates, and then it was like, and me, so when I found out about that, I was just beside myself. I actually cried. I was so excited. And, but I also I felt so humbled by it. Like, I felt honored, but I felt humbled because it was like, wow, people really appreciate my work. And I thought that was such a neat thing to have happen.
And you're in very good company there with those other award winners, that's for sure.
I know. I was in fantastic company. And it was just it was just surprising to me because you make films and stuff, you make them to entertain people, and you make them because you can't do anything else. You're just driven by it. And you don't really look for the recognition that comes with it. And I'd won acting awards and stuff like that. But to win something that was, that large of an award and that was honorary, it was like just, I don't know, it was just such a cool thing. Yeah, I was super, super moved by that. Kind of floored for about 2 months, I would say. Show my vulnerable side here.
Also show your compassionate side, too. You went down to Haiti right after the earthquake.
Yeah, we did. Actually, I just wrapped TikTok. A friend of mine down there is a doctor, and he was volunteering his time, and he was setting bones and things with like roofing tar and rebar. And he sent out this appeal to all these people, and I have a lot of friends that are, private pilots, and asked that people come down there and bring medical supplies. 3 days after we wrapped filming, went down there, and there were a lot of people from here that went, but it was really a moving experience when you get out of the plane and all the kids come running out of the bushes and stuff. It was just like, it was life-changing. But what we did was we flew into the less accessible airports. We went into Lakai, which they had supplies in the main airports, but the ships weren't there yet that brought the supplies to the smaller areas. So only small aircraft could get into them. And there weren't even towers or anybody talking on the radio. So it's kind of iffy. You're landing in Haiti and you're not talking to anybody on the ground. It was an interesting experience.
That has to certainly, as you said, be a life-changing experience to go from a country that had nothing, then having this horrific earthquake, and then going back to the comforts of home.
Yeah, I'd say that coming back was really hard too. You kind of come back and you kind of look around, and I would say that your wants and your needs change forever. What you feel you want and you need changes forever once you see, and I'd been to places that were poverty-stricken before, but I'd never been to somewhere that was poverty-stricken that had just been through a major disaster before. And you just feel so fortunate for every little thing, and you feel like you just need so much less in life than what you thought you needed before. And you also feel like living every day even more fully.
What other countries have you been to?
Well, I've been to a lot of places. I mean, when I would go to the Cannes Film Festival, several times I would, after the festival, take a week off. And granted, I'm not talking about poverty now, but I would like get in a car and just go drive, and went to Amsterdam and just went all these different places, London, and so I kind of like traveling. And then Grenada, been down to Grenada, and just all different places. I like seeing how other people live.
It's also a good experience and some good background for perhaps future acting roles too.
Yeah, you have to love people. You have to appreciate people no matter what their backgrounds are, no matter what their environments are, and you have to try and understand them. I think we have to do that as human beings, not just as actors. But maybe that's my bend on, maybe that's why I'm that way. I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg, But yeah, I think people are fascinating, and you certainly gain a lot of compassion, not just understanding, but compassion too. And I think that it's important to give back. I think that's an important part of life and of doing the things that we do. I mean, we have so much fun. It's really not fair. We work really hard, but we have a lot of fun.
What was the most fun that you've had on a movie or a TV show?
I would say in the last movie that we just wrapped, I would actually have to give it to that, because my whole life, we've all studied every type of acting known to man, right? My whole life, and you learn to die, and you learn to do all of these things. Well, nobody's ever let me die before. And I had this fantastic death scene, and I just was beside myself, and I got blood and I got everything, and I can't tell you exactly how I died, but I will tell you that it was glorious, and that I just really worked it from every step of the way. I just wanted to keep elongating the process. But I would say that was really fun for me, because I've never been able to, first of all, get all dirty and muddy and bloody, but second of all, I'd never gotten to die. And it was really kind of a really neat experience after you studied all those years, and then you finally get the opportunity to do it on camera. It's amazing.
Is there a role or a certain kind of a movie that you want to do that you haven't had a chance to yet?
Gosh, I don't know. I mean, I would have every other time I would have said science fiction. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. I think just more of the same. Better, stronger. Bigger. You know what I mean? It's like, I just like to exercise the muscle and just keep going in the same direction I'm going, and just every role gets better, every role gets deeper, every role gets more multifaceted, and I'm just really, really appreciative for the opportunities that I get.
It seems like you're in a pretty unique position, getting some really good, strong female roles when there aren't a whole lot of them to be found. It's
a funny thing, isn't it? I'm just absolutely loving it, because I've just basically had one right after the other for the last couple of years, and now I've got more in the future. So it's a fortunate position, but I don't take it for granted at all. I mean, I realize that it works both ways in this industry, but I do put a lot more work into it than a lot of my friends that are also in the industry. I work really, really hard at what I do. I don't take it for granted at all.
I could see you in the new Ghostbusters movie if they hadn't already cast it.
Ah, how much fun would that be?
Oh,
well, then
I know.
I'd love to do a female action movie. But one of the ones that I'm talking to these guys that I'm working with on the Who's Jenna Jameson movie has that aspect to it. So that would, yeah. But no, that'd be so much fun. Yeah, as long as they let you do your own stunts.
I could also see you as a scream queen like Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, I got to be in that Dawn of the Crescent Moon last year, but I didn't get to be one of the people that were screaming and running. I was in the bar with Barry Corbin for throughout the whole movie, which is great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Barry and I got to be very good friends, but yeah, they were having a lot more fun out at the river being killed, I think.
I suppose there are worse things in life than being stuck in a bar with Barry Corbin.
Isn't that the truth? It was absolutely true. It was some of the most fun I've had. Yeah, he's just such a great guy. And then we had him in the last movie we wrapped, too. We had him in At the Edge of Time. We had this great role, and so I took him out to lunch. I'm like, Barry, I need you to be in this with me. And he did. He did a fabulous job. I'll probably work with him a lot just because I enjoy his company so much. He's such a good guy.
Well, and how cool is that? Being able to work with the people that you want, that you like and enjoy and want to spend time with.
Exactly. It's amazing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not fair. We have like the best job in the world. And granted, we have to work really, really hard, not just to do it, but to get there, to where you can work. But because I imagine if all you did was auditioning, that would get really old. But yeah, we have the best job in the world. Work with really cool people.
And it is hard work. I think people, take it for granted. They see a movie and they think, oh, I could do that. Actors, with some of the salaries that they get, they look at it and say, they do that for playing. But it's hard work. It's strenuous
so
work.
Much hard work. It's like a full-time job. I mean, people think you just kind of work on it and then you go there. No, you're working all day on it. And if you're not working on it directly, then you're, promoting or doing interviews or it's all hard work. It's fun. None of it isn't fun. Well, it's like my daughter's downstairs right now because I have these two scripts I'm working on, and I always practice them in an app on my iPad. And then before I start shooting, I print them up and put them in a hard copy binder and 3-hole punch them there. So my youngest daughter's downstairs doing that for me right now because I just don't have the time, because it's so much work to prepare for a role. And the most important part is is working on it, not getting the materials together. So sometimes I enlist my family. And I'm like, okay, I don't have time to even print this.
How do you balance the both, the working and spending time with your family?
Well, I mean, my kids are older. My youngest is 18, so it's not that hard. But I did, I was a single mom most of my life, and I had to not only make it to work on time consistently, but I had to go even when I wasn't feeling well or something, and I had to get kids off to school and everything else. And when I worked on a show for 6 years when I was in my 20s, and I would make meals on the weekends and freeze them and put little labels on them on how long to put them in the oven for, and so you just have to balance things. You just have to, because you don't want to give anything up. You can't give up your family. You're certainly not going to give up your job. You can't give anything up. So you have to get a little less sleep and get it all done.
And how do they react to what you do? Are they very supportive of it? And did you let them see everything that you've done?
Yep, everything I've done. Yes, I did, even TikTok. Yeah, my daughter was going through the Who's Jenna Jameson script for me, and I was working on something on it on the computer, and I asked her to help me out with something. And she's reading it, and she's like, "Okay, so what's going on in here, and what are you going to do in here?" And it's really funny. So yeah, they see it at all stages.
Well, I appreciate your time, Tracy. I'm going to ask you the one question that I generally ask of the actors and actresses that I talk to, and that's, what advice do you give to somebody who's just starting out?
Well, if there's anything else that you can do, do it, because it's really, really hard work, much harder than it looks like going in. But the other thing is, if you do it, be consistent and do something every day. Work on it like a full-time job. I mean, don't and my biggest piece of advice I like to give people is go to your auditions like you're shooting. Go in, off book, fully prepared. If you don't have a chance to do that, then a lot of times don't go. Pick between your auditions, because they're always going to remember what you do in the audition room, and they're going to call you back from what you do in there. So I always tell everybody, they say I don't have to be off book. Yeah, but when does somebody want to see you act? If you're not working, if somebody's excited to see you act, go in and show them your best work. Don't go in and show them something in between. Yeah.
That's some good advice. Thanks for coming on, Tracy. I really appreciate it, and I really enjoyed this. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, thank you. I did too, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. And we'll have links on the show page where you can find out more about Tracy's work, as well as the social media links. And if you enjoy the Imaginarium, you can check out our other shows on the Supernauts Network at thesupernauts.com. And until next time, may all your journeys be filled with pure imagination.